And now for a quick overview of material and non-material culture. This really kind of goes in the middle of the culture concepts and terms lecture, but I've separated it out just for time's sake. So material culture are objects, non-material culture are ideas. You can see some of the material objects here. These were chosen by my 5-year-old at the time: toys, cars, telephones. So when we're looking at material objects and material culture, we're looking at it almost like language. It is something that we have created, something we have given a name to, something that not only has a purpose for which we have designed it, but also has alternate changes to society. If you think about like the cell phone, you use the cell phone theoretically designed to make telephone calls. I think I do that once a month on my cell phone right now, but it has also changed our entire society. When you have that cell phone with you, you've got no excuse to be bored anymore. There's no more going to a doctor's office and staring at the same magazine from 1996 for 2 hours. You have everything at your fingers. You have the entire world at your fingers. It has changed the connection people to people. It has changed the connection of people to knowledge. It has changed everything. And in fact, it even launched us into the postmodern world. So material culture is the object, but we also have to study the impact of that object. Values, beliefs, and norms are the non-material objects, and we will be looking at those one at a time. So values, the first of the non-material culture that we study. Values are one of the very few should have been, ought to be type of things in sociology. We've been telling you from the beginning we study fact, right? Those things that we can measure and touch and feel. But values are more like the best story of ourselves. How do we wish that we were? Almost like our mythology. And the first 10, I believe, all the way through freedom, were elaborated or expanded on by an anthropologist named Robin Williams in the 1960s. And when we're looking at these values, we're looking at those things that we believe about ourselves, those things that we hold to be true about our entire culture. Not in a scientific sense, that's the next one, but more in a sense that this is just the way that we are, like equal opportunity. We believe that we are an equal opportunity society. We believe in achievement. We believe in individualism. We believe in comfort. And how do we show our achievement? By buying cool things and becoming more comfortable. We believe in efficiency and practicality, progress, science. We believe we're a democracy, even though we're really a representative republic. But we call ourselves a democracy. We have group superiority. As much as we talk about being equal opportunity, we believe that some groups are better than other groups. And we believe that we have freedom. We tend to occasionally talk about the bounds of that freedom, but it is one of those profound ideas that we believe very strongly in, that we have. It reaches the point of value. An author named Henslin added humanitarianism, education, religiosity, and romantic love to this. The idea that we will help people, but they have to be worthy of our help. But if they're worthy, we are pretty helpful people. We both value education in words, at least, if we don't in money and time and other useful things like that. And depending on where you live in the country, we have a lot of religious language and a lot of religious ideologies. Whether or not individuals live up to those things is a whole nother ballgame, but the religiosity in words is a big part of our culture. So the values are kind of our mythologies, our stories about ourselves. We say that we're individualistic, so we tell stories about how the triumph of individualism, the triumph of hard work. When we give awards to people, we give awards to an individual. We don't tend to give awards to everybody. Now, I watched the Grammys, and yes, it's to a person, and they get up and they say, oh, thanks to my family and my publisher and my, everybody else. But really, who's going to go on the record? Just that one individual person. So we are an incredibly individualistic culture. That's probably the biggest one that we have. And then the rest of these all kind of feed off of the individualism. Now, beliefs are really short and sweet because beliefs are just those things we believe to be true, kind of like factual statements. They're not broad ideas and concepts and perspectives like the values are that we are an individualistic people. A belief is germs cause illness. That's it, belief. The tooth fairy brings you money underneath your pillow the night after you lose a tooth. Those type of things we believe to be true. So beliefs can be scientific, they can be religious, they can be cultural. Well, they're always going to be cultural, but they're just those things that we believe to be true. They don't have to be true. Remember that from symbolic interactionism. Those things we believe, perceive to be true, become true in their consequences. So the beliefs themselves are not as important as the actions, but the beliefs are there to give us some sort of understanding of the actions. And last, the norms. Norms are expectations for behavior. We are going to be revisiting norms when we look at statuses and roles. We will be revisiting norms when we look at deviance. But it's just the expectations, the do's and don'ts of your society. What are you supposed to do? How do you drive? How do you walk? What do you eat? What do you wear? How do you sit? Girls and boys sit different, those kind of things. What are you supposed to watch on TV? What's an appropriate breakfast food? All of these things would be norms. Proscriptives are the don't do it's. Prescriptives are the do it's. Formal and informal are often correspond with written and unwritten. So formal are often written, informal are often unwritten. Not always, but most of the time. You can look at written norms as kind of like a college course catalog. It says you take these classes, you get this degree. It's a statement of normative behaviors. You behave in this way. Attend class, do your stuff, get your 3 credit points for whatever. Then you can proceed on to the next thing. Mores, folkways, and laws. Look at the relative danger to society, kind of, where mores harm the integrity of the group. Folkways are everyday behavior, and then laws are what we have decided are important enough to codify into a set of laws. So folkways would be the everyday things. So think of everyday folk ways, what you eat, like the fact that I'm drinking a Diet Coke for my afternoon snack. It's pretty normal for somebody to have a Diet Coke in the afternoon. Wake them up, get them more alert. Don't sound quite so sleepy when I'm recording things. Having like a beer for breakfast would definitely not be following the norms. That would be something that you're not supposed to do. Having a cup of coffee and a little bit of cereal or an egg or something, that's what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to be wearing. I've been in sweatpants for approximately a year now, so when we go back into actual classrooms, I'm going to have to fit the norms of being outside of my house instead of just ready for video from the waist up. So what you're supposed to wear. Mores cause integrity to the group. So murder, anything that could kill somebody goes into mores. And anything that can directly confront an ideology also could possibly go into more, something that could harm the integrity of the group. If the entire group must hold on to this ideology to keep society stable, somebody who holds an alternate ideology and is going to be behaving in activities to represent that is going to also be engaging in mores and be harmful to the integrity of the group. Social control is how we make people follow norms. Sanctions are also how we make people follow norms. Sanctions are more behavioral, though. It's an automatic kind of carrot stick. You do this thing right, we give you something good. You do this thing wrong, we give you something bad. Social control is more like the entire societal mechanism of making people follow norms. It's the look. It's everything. It is, the fact that we have of agents of social control, like teachers. It's the entire mechanism of the entire society to make you follow norms. Sanctions are just those individual actions. And we will revisit norms again, as I was saying, in statuses and roles, and then we will really revisit them, the social control and sanctions part for sure, when we get to deviance toward the end of the class.